talk shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. So I'm sorry, guys, I'm late. Technical problems. So the topic today basically is I choose to be a fighter. I choose to be a lover, not a fighter. So the reason why I chose this topic is because people spend years and years searching for that special person to love them, to share their lives, to share what they've discovered about their lives, their memories, and to basically to have someone in your life that you can have a laugh, that you can do things together, and but when we do find that special person, we connect with them, and promises are made within that relationship. When promises are made in a relationship, you visit beautiful places with the person that you love, and you get to select that person, which is the most important thing in that relationship. You get to decide whether this person is gonna be good for you, and whether you're connecting properly with that person, basically. And then you get to make a decision to actually go exclusive with that person. You start spending beautiful memories with that person, and when you do spend get to know the person, and you let them enter the spirit of love. Basically, Tony Robbins says, and let somebody enter your world. They enter the spirit of love within you, and they get to enter your world. They get to connect with you. They get to basically, they get to know your values. Why do you believe the things that you believe? They get to connect with your beliefs. They get to connect with your values. Basically, they get to understand what kind of a person you are, and they fall in love with that person. Remember, when you fall in love with someone, you've already fallen in love with yourself, because you cannot love someone if you don't love yourself. So self-love is very, very important. Loving yourself, we were talking about it yesterday. That is very, very important, to love yourself and accept yourself. So when you do fall in love, you do find that special person, and you fall in love with them, and you basically, promises are being made. You get to decide whether do you want to live together, maybe after a year or 2 years. Sometimes some people, they get to decide after 6 months. They're like, we know each other, now we can move in together. They get to move in together, but then that decision, we forget what we went through when you met this special person that you're dating now, that you had to. Sometimes some people, it takes them a year. Sometimes some people, it takes them years to actually search for that person that they desire in life. But when we do find that person, we have an ideas of how we're going to, what we want. And when you do find that person, you connect with that person, and then you forget. Some people don't forget. They never ever. There are some people who have worked on themselves, who have actually worked on their personal development. They've worked on their mindset. They've worked on their character. They know exactly what they want. All they want is to meet that person, so they can share what they have discovered in life. So that person, when they do meet somebody, they never ever take life for granted. They are very, very grateful for what they have and the person that is in their lives. Then you find that there are some people who don't have knowledge about personal development, who don't have knowledge about how to basically how to work on your relationship, or how to behave in that relationship, how to basically connect with someone properly and enjoy their world instead of becoming a fighter. Becoming a fighter, it means I am actually, it means basically, if the king hasn't got the knowledge of how relationship works, if the queen hasn't got the knowledge of how relationship works and how they can share their lives together without fighting each other. There's a difference between fighting as a normal fighting in relationship. Yes, if people fight in relationship, that's normal. But there is another relationship where somebody will meet somebody, and they make promises that I want to spend the rest of my life with you and I accept you, but they are not actually accepting the person in that relationship because the foundation of a relationship is no good. So if the foundation of a relationship is no good, so that means you have not accepted each other in that relationship. So you work on your foundation. When you have the knowledge of what you want in life, you work when you meet someone, you work on the foundation of a relationship. That means that there is a tree in that foundation. And you have to have the knowledge of how do you basically, how is that tree foundation of your relationship, how is it going to grow? Because it needs to grow. So when it needs to grow, that means you're gonna have to plant a seed in that relationship, and that seed is gonna need to be watered. It's gonna need to be so many different things that is gonna need to be looked after in that relationship. So how are you going to look after that relationship? It means how am I going to look after my king? How am I going to look after my queen? Am I going to let my queen fight for me, fight for my heart? Or do I need to care for my queen? Do I need to care for my king? But when you met somebody, the promises were made that I am going to save you. The king is there to save. The queen is there to save. The woman meets a man to save them. And they also have to receive. They receive the love, they share the love together, they receive and they share their lives together. A woman shares, the queen shares her life with her king, and the king shares his life with his queen. So am I going to forgive when the king makes mistakes? Or am I going to hold on to unforgiveness? And that's when somebody holds on to unforgiveness, that's when the relationship is no longer a love relationship. It means that I am fighting. My heart is fighting for you, is fighting for you to actually share your heart with me. So if I'm fighting for you to open up with me, to accept me fully in your heart, am I in a relationship of love, or am I fighting my strength, my energy for you to accept me? So that's what the topic is about. It's about basically there are some people that have been hurt. And when they have been hurt, they actually um, they actually find it hard. If you want to comment, guys, feel free to comment, or if you want to get into conversation, please feel free to get into conversation. So when these people have been hurt, they don't work on themselves, they enter another relationship and they build a wall. They don't open up, they build a wall, and the other person basically they'll find it hard to actually connect with that person, but the other person will still stay in that relationship even if there is no freedom. A relationship has to have freedom. I need to have freedom with somebody. I don't want to feel alone when I'm in a relationship. I don't want to bleed emotionally. Why do I have to bleed for you? Why do I have to bleed for you to connect emotionally with me? So if you are somebody who is watching right now or who is going to be watching later, and if your spouse, they have to bleed for you to connect with them, if they have to bleed emotionally, wanting you to connect with them properly, and when they are building, when they are bleeding emotionally, and you feel that you cannot open up with them, you cannot enter their world fully, enjoy life. Life is about enjoying. Relationship, it comes with so many challenges, but at the same time, you've got to enjoy being in that relationship. You got to enjoy spending time with the person that you want to share your life with. You are sharing your life with. You don't want to live in a relationship where there's gonna be a woman has some talking problems or a man has some talking problems. Some men, basically, they don't know how to speak to a woman. That is called the talking problem. Some women don't know how to communicate with their spouse. That is called the talking problems. When somebody disrespects you in a relationship, and when your queen, your king, they basically don't basically notice you, or they don't respect you, they don't communicate with you, that means they have some talking problems that they need to deal with. So that basically can be a result of what they've gone through in the past. It could be a childhood attachment, that whatever they've gone through in the past, or it could be simple, they've been hurt before, and they're scared of opening up again, to love again. They're scared. But I'm here today, I'm sitting here. If you have been hurt and you believe that men are the same, and you believe that women are the same, that is wrong. And if you are watching and you believe that I am never going to find a woman that is looking for what I'm looking for, I am not going to find a man that is looking for what I'm looking for, you are wrong. You are looking at the wrong places. There is somebody for everybody. There is always someone for everybody. Your character, if you are a Christian and you are looking for a Christian man, you are looking for a Christian woman, there's always Christian who are looking for single women. If you go to church, you'll find there's loads of single women, there's loads of single men. If you go to the world and you are just looking for somebody, you're not fussy, you're looking for somebody who can understand you, somebody that you can connect, and somebody that basically is um, they've worked on themselves, they've worked on their lives, and they basically they know what they want, they have purpose in life. You can find that person. I cannot sit here and tell you that you cannot find it. You can find what you're looking for as long you're willing to search. It's not easy. I cannot sit here and say it's easy to find love. Yes, it's easy. You can find anybody, but to find actually somebody that matches your character, matches your image, that matches your identity, it's not easy. But you can find that person. And also, you have to understand that people are different. So to become a lover, you have to understand that people are different. If you have met me and you meet somebody else, you got to understand that Nomsa, she's unique, and this person is unique. We are all different. If you have met somebody who didn't have the knowledge about how relationship works. There is somebody out there that will know how relationship works. There is somebody out there who basically is ready to love again. And there are some people who don't want to love, who don't want to fall in love. They just want to have fun. So there is everybody for everybody. So that's all I can tell you. Whatever you are looking for, there is everybody for everyone. So you just have to know what you want. For me, basically, I'm not looking for to fight to be a fighter. When I'm in a relationship, I'm an open book. I'm looking to share my life. I'm looking for basically to share what I have discovered about the world with somebody. I'm not looking for somebody to fight for them to basically to love me, to tell me that Nomsa, I love you. I love myself. I've accepted myself and I love myself unconditionally. And all I'm looking for is to share my unconditional love with somebody else, to share my world with somebody else. I'm not looking to be a fighter. Yes, relationship comes with challenges. Don't get me wrong. It comes with so many challenges. I'm ready to go through those challenges. I'm ready to basically to there is love is people seems to think like love is about it's like a reality TV and it's about the romantic programs or films that we watch. Love is not like that. It comes with so many challenges because there are two people and these people are different, they are unique, so they are going to disagree. So are you ready to forgive me if I disagree with you? Because I will disagree with you one night when you say, let's buy Chinese, and I will say, no, I want Indian today. So are you ready to forgive me? Or am I ready to forgive you? When you say you want Chinese and I say I want Indian, somebody has to win. The food has the takeaway has to be delivered. So which one is going to be delivered? It means, okay, I'm gonna let him have his takeaway, his Chinese takeaway. I'm gonna have my Indian. Next time it means I have to use my common sense. I don't wanna fight. I cannot fight use my energy for things that are not worth it. That means that's why it's very, very important to be to basically to understand what comes with the relationship, to understand the mindset, how the psychology relationship is all about psychology, to have a little bit of basic of psychology. So if my spouse says they want to have Indian, but I fancy Chinese. It means it's not about winning. It means, okay, we can have Indian today, and maybe next week we can have Chinese. I'm fine, I'm cool with that. But there are some people that you will be like, oh no, I said I want this. This is what I want. And then the Indian, somebody gets Indian, and then they get angry with each other. They're not talking to each other. They are fighting against each other, and life is too short. It's too short to do that. Life is there are no guarantees. And because the talk shows, Kamal says there are no guarantees for tomorrow. Why would I fight you for the Indian instead of loving you, instead of sharing the love that I have within me, instead of showing how much you mean to me just by letting you buy the Indian? If I'm not allergic to Indian, if I basically not love Indian, but I can accept it, why can't I just let you buy takeaway? Why do I have to be a fighter, not a lover? So I don't want to be a fighter. I don't want to, if my spouse, they come home late, they had to work late, why would I have to fight them and say, why did you come home late? What matters is if they decide to work overtime, they come home late. I have to be grateful that he made it at home instead of me fighting. You made it at home. I'm grateful. I have to look at my spouse and say, you're here. Instead of being a lover, instead of being a fighter, I have to create my own destiny. Creating my own destiny, it means I'm writing my story with the person that I have met, with the person that I promise to share the rest of my life with. I have to write my own story. I have to create my memories. If memories comes with challenges, I have to go through those challenges. I cannot go around it and say to my spouse, I'm out just because of the challenges in relationship I have to go through, holding hand to hand, dark places, not fighting each other when we go through dark places, dark times. Basically, we start fighting each other instead of focusing on the problem. But some people, instead of focusing on the problem, they focus on each other and they fight each other. You don't have to fight each other. You can focus on what is going on. How can we go through this? How can we fight through these challenges that we are going through together? Even if there are some disagreement, we can disagree, but we can still go through it. How can we basically disagree and go through the challenges together? How can basically, let's say basically, and somebody make mistakes, or maybe let's say your lover, basically you look at your friends as a relationship. You can type, guys, and let's say you look at your friends as relationships, and you start comparing your lover. Why can't he be like this person? How can't he be? How can she be like my friend's wife? My friend's wife, she's this. Or you look at other women, you think, why can't my wife be? Or my spouse, my partner, what can they be? They cannot be what basically you believe that they should be, because they are not that person. So comparing basically your lover to somebody else, that means you want your lover to fight to be what you want them to be, not for them to be who they are meant to be. So that it means that they are no longer, the love is no longer there. It means that person has to fight because they're being compared with somebody else. There are things that can be done if you feel that there is always a room for improvement. There is always a room. That means that's where therapists come in. And when you go to a therapist, they'll basically help you for your relationship to grow. And so those are the things that you can do. And but if you meet someone, there are some men that they make an effort when they meet each other, and then when they are together, they let themselves go. Or there are women that when they meet each other, everything is beautiful. They look after themselves. They dress up beautifully, but then when they get whatever they've been searching for, they're no longer taking care of themselves. They basically not looking after themselves. That can affect a relationship. So it means that when you meet somebody, and you still have to keep it up looking after yourself, because that person wants to go out and hold hands with you, and you have to look presentable, and your character, your basically your image has to be how you were created by God. But you still have to maintain, it's in the Bible as well, that you have to look after yourself, look presentable. So that's why a man will be very, very happy if a woman, it doesn't matter whether you have children, you still have to look after yourself. You still have to maintain um, your image, your character. So it doesn't mean that you, because you have kids, you can't look after yourself. So that when problems starts, when somebody doesn't look after themselves, and just because they let themselves go and because they have kids. So that's when somebody, the relationship can clash, because that person is like, you're not the person that I met. So they want you to, basically, they don't want you to change, but they will laugh. They know that people change. They don't basically, when you meet somebody, we're not meant to basically, we're meant to grow. So if you have met me and I love, maybe like myself, when I met my spouse, there's things that I love to wear. There's so many things that I love to do, but I've grown now. So I look at myself, I'm like, this is not my character. These are the things that I don't like to do. So those things, I don't do it anymore. Uh, some clothes that are how I used to dress, I don't dress them anymore. But I have not changed. I've grown. I've just upgraded myself. So in that way, it shouldn't affect our relationship, because that means I'm working on my character, and that means I am basically, uh, I've grown. And then we come to the power of forgiveness. To be a fighter, to be a lover, not a fighter, you've got to understand the power of forgiveness. Power of forgiveness. When you understand forgiveness is the critical component of God being able to help your relationship grow, or the universe. Because when you are in a relationship, you pray. I'm a Christian. When I'm in a relationship, I pray. So if I'm in a relationship and I'm praying for my spouse, I'm praying for my children, that means God steps in and help me to grow, my relationship to grow. So in order for God to step in into my life, in my relationship, and help me to grow, that means I have to understand the power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness, it means you enter my world. It means I accept you even if when you make mistakes. It means I accept you even if you leave your socks, your thing on the floor. It means that I accept you. It means I forgive you. Basically, I'm going to pick up the socks. I know somebody who leaves their socks around. So it means I pick them up, and without basically getting angry, you have to basically, if you have to get into that stage of where you accept people for who they are, and not tolerant, because when we use tolerant, it means I have to tolerate the things that I shouldn't. So I don't let people get away with things that they shouldn't. I do not tolerate some things. I work through the problems with my spouse. If I'm not happy with something, we go through it together. So I know somebody who leaves their socks there on the floor. So it means I have to understand the power of forgiveness. I don't know your beliefs. That might be. Sometimes your spouse might not even deserve your forgiveness. But it is very, very important to understand the power of forgiveness, to understand the power of holding your tongue, to understand, because when you hold your tongue and when you forgive, your relationship will be transformed. It means when you have some talking problems, uh, it means you will work on your tongue. I've had some talking problems before, but I wasn't a woman that talks too much. I was a woman that holds back. If somebody offends me, or if there is something that I didn't like, or if there is something that I wanted, I wouldn't speak. I wouldn't ask. I wouldn't, if someone had done something wrong, I wouldn't want a confrontation. So there was some problems there. When you don't want a confrontation, you want to go along with the everything in life, that's not good. So I was somebody that wouldn't basically ask. I would be scared if I ask, and I wouldn't ask. Or if something happens in a relationship, I would just prefer to not. I don't want no confrontation. So I just basically, so that those were the problems that are for me basically that I had, but I had to learn to actually transform my life. I had to learn to become a great lover. It means I have to learn to communicate even when I'm feeling alone. I have to learn to communicate my feelings. And so those are the things that I had to learn to forgive as well. And forgiveness is the hardest thing that anyone can do, because when you forgive somebody, you don't have to look at the other person to forgive you. Forgiveness, it means I forgive you, and I'm moving on. I let go of whatever has been going on, and I move on with life, and I pray to God and asking God to hold my hand, to hold my spouse's hand. So if you are a Christian, you have to learn to be somebody, not to be a fighter, um, to be a lover. Basically, you have to pray for your relationship. You have to pray for your children. You have to be someone that knows how to plant good seeds in your life, in your relationship. It is very, very important. It means um, accepting people for who they are. When you date somebody, it means I choose to be a lover by accepting you for who you are. And when you tell me that you love me, it means that I'm not afraid to tell you how much I feel. I'm not afraid to love you. I'm not afraid to give you my heart to share. I cannot give you my heart. I am sorry. I can share my heart with you, but I cannot give you my heart. So it means that I'm not afraid to share my heart with you. I'm not afraid for you to enter the spirit of love and get to know my world, like Tony Robbins says. He says, enter your lover's world, get to know that person very well. So I'm not afraid to enter your world and get to know you. So I'm not afraid. And I allow myself to enter the spirit of love. I allow myself to get to know your world. I allow myself to share my life with you. I allow myself, I am willing to show my uniqueness. I am willing to show my authenticity. I am not worried about what people think of me as a person, because if I'm worried about what people think about me as a person, as long my character is good, as long I love unconditional, as long I respect people, why should I hold back? So I'm not afraid of what people think of me as a person. I'm not afraid. I want to be a lover. It means I am going to basically to share my life with you. If we fight, we can fight with grace. We are allowed to fight, but not my heart fighting for you. For you to actually share your heart fully with me. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna stay in a relationship where I'm gonna have to fight, where I'm gonna have to bleed, where I'm gonna have to feel all alone. I'm not going to stay in that relationship. If you are somebody who is watching, you are in a relationship, but you feel all alone, I'll basically advise you to get a therapist with your spouse. Because a therapist is not, it doesn't mean that when you get a therapist, it doesn't mean that you have to be ashamed. A relationship, when you are in a relationship with somebody, from the outside can see what you don't see, what your spouse don't see. So sometimes it's nice to go and sit down and talk all your problems with somebody. So sometimes it's nice to build that relationship, to basically work on your relationship so your relationship can grow. So that is, I'm not going to stay in a relationship where I'm going to be emotionally blackmailed. There are some people who basically blackmail you in that relationship emotionally. And I'm not gonna see that, because my desire is not to bleed emotionally. My desire is not to stay with somebody who is emotionally going to blackmail me. My desire is for me to love and respect someone. My desire is for me to be with a man that take responsibilities. My desire is for me to take my own responsibilities, not somebody to end up fighting me, emotionally blackmailing my spouse so that their self-esteem can go low. That's not a relationship. That's not a lover. A lover is somebody that is willing to share love with that person, not to blackmail someone emotionally. That's not a relationship. So I'm not going to stay with somebody that is going to blackmail me emotionally. I'm not going to be with somebody that is going to show me that I'm a woman that is not enough, that I'm not enough for them, or not doing something right, that I'm gonna let my spouse know. Why would my spouse stay with me if I'm letting them know that they're not doing something right? And if they're trying to better themselves, they're trying to grow, I'm trying to put them down, their self-esteem down, basically to put them lower and lower and lower so that they believe that they are not enough. That is the blackmail. So why would I have to be a fighter, not a lover? Why would I have to be with somebody that is gonna be always blaming me? Blaming me. There are so many things, there are so many people that are in a relationship. And when they are in a relationship with someone, that person, maybe they are abusing them. And you will find that when they are in that relationship with that person, it will emotionally blackmail them, and the other person will be making excuses. He is what he is because of maybe he didn't grow up well. And why would I make an excuse? He didn't grow up well. Then he man up. Go and see a therapist. If you didn't grow up okay, that does not mean that I have to fight in a relationship. I have to go through your pain. Go see a therapist. Everybody has had some childhood attachment where there's part of where, like even myself, there's been part where my family divorced, my parents divorced. When my parents divorced, I was young. That means that is an attachment that it was to affect me in my relationships, and he did. But when I realized that this was affecting me, I had to be brave and go and seek therapy. And I found therapy. I had to work on myself. So we do not make any excuses for somebody who is abusing us. We do not make excuses when somebody is emotionally blackmailing you to say, oh, he does this because maybe he's been drinking, he does this because of this, because of this. We do not make any excuses for that. We do not make any excuses. and emotionally blackmail can actually cause breakdown in a relationship. So that's when you have to remember that your job is not basically, it's not to fight. Your job is to love. Your job is to go through problems, because we can't avoid problems in relationship. When you are dating someone, we can't say, oh, your relationship is gonna be like a Romeo and Juliet that exists in the films, because somebody wrote it. And when somebody wrote wrote that love story, they wanted to win the audience. They had to make it exciting. They had to remember who they are writing this story to. So the Romeo and Juliet does not exist in the real love world. So we have to remember that uh, when you choose to be a lover, it means that yes, there are gonna be challenges in a relationship, but those challenges do not include me going through abuse. They do not include me going through physically, emotionally abuse. They do not include me going through sexually abuse. They do not include me, my identity, being told that I am not enough. It does not include. That means when somebody tells me that I am not enough, it means that emotionally, I, my life, emotionally, I'm gonna be unstable. Emotionally, I'm gonna feel that I'm not enough. Emotionally, I'm gonna feel that I'm not enough for my spouse. And so I have to know the signs of basically when I'm becoming a fighter and when I am becoming a lover. I have to know the difference. The difference, it means basically when I'm being a lover, it means I'm just sharing my life with you. I don't feel ashamed of being with you. I don't feel. It means when we are going through challenges, I don't have to blame my spouse. I don't have to blame myself for whatever is going on in our relationship. We have to work through it together. So that's what a relationship is about. Being a lover, not a fighter. So that's what it is about. So if you are somebody who is basically, if you are someone who feel that you have to fight for somebody, it's like you have these men that basically play hard to get, and you have this woman that they basically believe that they have to play hard to get. So for me, basically, as a woman, what you see is what you get. My true authenticity, my character is real. So when I'm meeting somebody, if I'm single, I'm single. I wanna get to know you. I want no games. You wanna play games with me, you're out. So I'm not going to basically make excuses for you. I'm not going to fight for your heart. Why do I have to fight for your heart? Love, unconditional love comes natural. If you've been hurt by the person that you've dated before. You have not been hurt by me. So it means I should be free to get to know you. You should be free to actually get to know me. You don't have to, it doesn't have to, you don't have to play hard. I don't have to play hard for you to connect, because that's when people don't end up connecting properly. It means I'm walking into this room, and when I walk into a room, my potential spouse is there, and this person that is there, and they are looking for somebody to connect. They're not looking for somebody to play games with. They're looking for somebody to connect. So when I step in that room, I'm sitting down and I introduce myself, and this other person introduce themselves. We have a laugh. I get to know the things that they want. I get to know their desires. I get to know their values. I get to know their beliefs. I get to know, I get to ask, where do they see themselves in 5 years or 2 years? Does it include a woman in it? If it includes a woman, that's fine. If we want children together, that's fine. If they don't want children and I want children, that means that is not a good match. And it means that if we are both looking for the same thing, it means that I don't have to worry about what I've been through before. Because if I worry about what I've been through before, then it's going to take away the fun, it's going to take away the connection. So I have to be in the present moment without judging anyone. I have to be fully in the present moment, get to know this person that is looking for somebody to share their lives with. I have to ask questions. Asking questions, it means they ask questions about me, I tell them what they want to know, and it means I'm going to ask lots of questions. And then get to know somebody by asking questions. So once I get to know what they want, and if physically we are connected, because you have to connect with somebody, you have to have a laugh with somebody. You can't just go out and date a man and say, or a woman, just because they are beautiful, I'm gonna date them, or because they have a good job, you're gonna date them. No, it's a connection. Not everybody connects with everybody. Love is a connection. It's a connection that it has to grow. It's a connection that you don't have to try hard. It's a connection that basically it gives you hope, possibilities. Is there possibilities that me and this person basically could uh, spend the rest of our lives together? Is there a possibility of so many things that has to be basically, you have to evaluate so many things. Hey, hey, Phila, how you doing? Good to see you. So there is so many possibilities. Love comes with so many possibilities. Like when you look into a man, basically you have to ask yourself, can I take this man to my family and introduce him to my family? Can I take this woman to my mom? Uh, awesome. So as a woman, as a man, basically you have to ask yourself, can I take this woman to my family and introduce her to my family? Can she actually connect with my family? And mostly is the problem, it comes with the women. A woman, when is being introduced to a man's family, normally the man is, like, let's say my side, it is easy for my side to accept a man, but it is always tough for a man's side, for family to accept the woman, because the man has connection with with their mother. Even though I have a connection with my mother, it's normally the strong bond is with my father. Fathers are easy. Fathers want to know, can you support their child? Do you have a job? That's all they want to know. If you take your man to your father, and your father asks questions, where do you work? What do you do for living? What do you have plans? What plans do you have for my child, or for my daughter? That's when a man is an architect. A man is an architect. A man is a provider. A woman, she's also a provider, but a man, he's an architect. A man it designs. An architect, it means you design the plan of where you see your family, where you're gonna live with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, your children. A man has to have a vision. That's why we call a man is an architect. A man has to have a vision. He has to know which city he's gonna stay with his family. He has to look at his life and see what kind of a life the vision he has for his children and his wife. And then the wife, his job, a wife is a mentor, and or partner, whatever you call them, is a mentor. The woman makes sure that the vision a man has, it comes to reality. A man's job is to design, is to have a vision for his family. He provides for his family. She provides for her family. She gives life to her family. He is he's basically a man has to basically a man when you take a man to your father, those are the questions that your father wants to know, because the father has a vision for his children. He had his own vision for his children, and that vision came to reality by raising his children, educating his children. And that's why this child now, she's grown and she has found this man. So the father wants to know, are you going to look after my child? If a man sees that, oh yes, I will look after her, I have a vision, that's it for him. You are accepted. The mother accepts you. But when you take a woman to the family, that's where the problem is. A woman, remember this woman, she has spent all her life looking after this child. She has raised this child emotionally. They have connected, and she has raised him. She's looked after him. She watched him grow. And okay, the father is gonna be like, yeah, he's a woman, your girlfriend, she's nice. That's what a man says. She's nice, as long the woman is nice. But the woman and the sisters and the brothers, they're gonna want more. We basically, they have spent their lives with this person, and now there's a part where this person, they have to share this person with somebody else. So there might be a problem. So this is where a woman, as a woman, you don't have to fight the feelings to say, basically, you don't have to fight to be loved. Your energy, what you bring, the energy that you bring is going to help these people accept you. So if they give you an attitude and you respond with an attitude, then there's gonna be a problem. If you tell this man after you've met his mom that I don't like your mom, never tell a man you don't like their mom. Never, ever, ever tell them that you do not like their mother. You can tell, explain the behavior, how they behaved to you, but never, ever tell a man that you don't like their mom, because we don't have a right to say we don't like somebody, but we can actually get to know somebody, because sometimes people react, how people respond, they feel threatened. It's the fear. They react towards fear that she's coming to take my son away from me. But if the mother-in-law sees that your energy is to say, I accept your son in my life, but he can still have a relationship with you, and I accept you in my life. They change, people change, because you are giving them that reassurance that I'm not here to take your son. I'm just here to share this love that I have discovered with him and with his family. So you have to do that. Never say, I can't stand your family. A man does not want to hear that. They might agree with you, but when it comes to deep down in psychology, it basically it affects them inside. That relationship, it means is going to is broken. Once you tell a man that I don't like your mom, the relationship is broken. So it's nice to say, I'm not sure if they like me, but I'm willing to get to know them. Tell the truth. Don't pretend, but never say, actually, I do not like your mom. It does affect many inside, although feel you can tell me if I'm lying or not. A man who loves his mom would tell you that I don't like it when a woman tells me that they don't like my mom. Of course, when they meet, there might be some disagreement, there might be some things, but for me, I'm a child of God. I've learned to actually not to accept to be accepted, or the rejection. I've learned that when somebody rejects me, is something that is not me that they are rejecting, is fear. So when I somebody tells me that they reject me, all I just go and pray to God and say, God, open that person's heart to see sense in their lives, because I don't want to be part of this love triangle. So it does help. And also women, and also when you have problems, that's why you have to be a lover. Don't tell your in-laws, no matter how close you are with your in-laws, never tell them your problems. Your problems, go tell your friends, because one day they will use those problems against you. So never tell them your problems. That's why you need a therapist, and you need friends to confide in them. You can confide in your family. Never confide in them and telling them that their child is not enough, or when the child is making mistakes, and never confide in them. It is something that I have learned through my journey, and I've never realized it until I go into psychology. That's when I realized, oh, actually, I should not have done that, but I did it. And so you realize that some things, they don't work. So confide. That's why we have friends. Confide in them, and be a lover. Don't backstab your spouse as well, because when you backstab your spouse, it's not a love anymore. If your spouse making mistakes, tell them. He is the manufacturer. Don't go and tell your friends, because if you go and tell your friends, that you're never going to fix the problem that is existing in that relationship. But tell them if they're making mistakes. Tell them, and tell them in a way that they don't feel that they're not doing something right. Just their ways of communicating with people and making people feel valued, making people feel that they want more of you. So there are ways that you can do that. And in finding those ways is knowing your spouse. You have to know your spouse very, very well. Once you know your spouse, then you will learn how to communicate. There are some people that will go and find a book about a relationship, and they will read the book. Read, what does it say? Yes, you say, I have to design my own life. My spouse, they will be reading and judging their spouse, reading and judging their spouse, and the spouse comes in, and they judge their relationship, and then it ends up affecting relationship. When you read a book, basically the book tells you the story of the person who wrote the book, how they have been able to sort out their problems, and then it helps you to look at your own problems based on your circumstances, and based on your character, based on the person you are dating, and then you start sorting out problems and not comparing. Comparison, we're stealing our joy. You're stealing somebody your joy. You're stealing somebody else's joy. So you don't compare someone, your relationship with somebody. You have to know your relationship is unique and is individual. That's how you become a lover, not a fighter. A fighter, basically, a relationship when you are fighting constantly, and when somebody is not opening up, that means that relationship is no longer exciting. Yes, you can go through challenges, you can agree and disagree, it's fine, but there are normal fights, and then there are fights that are not normal anymore. If I'm bleeding and I'm feeling alone, but I'm telling people that I'm going home, a home is for a woman to feel to have freedom. A woman is for a man, is a man to finish work and say to his manager, I do not want to be here, I want to go home. I want to go home. A home is where somebody has to feel safe. My spouse would, he he'll stay away from home if he's not local. If he goes away is fine, he will stay away. But if he stays local or he goes to a party with his friends and they've meant to book a hotel to stay away, if it's 40 minutes, 1 hour, he'll take a taxi and come home. That's how much he value his home, because at home that's where he's free. At home is a home is where he feels safe. His home is where basically he can be a man, and also we let him to think that he's in charge. Basically, he thinks that he's in charge, but he is not actually, and I'm not in charge either. We are both helping each other for the relationship to grow. But when he thinks he's in charge, he always tells the children that he's in charge, but he is not. So that's the truth. So a home is where somebody has to feel safe. A home is where somebody has to feel that they're worth it. So that's what a relationship is about. And for me to be where I am today with my mindset, I had to do loads of meditating. I had to do loads of um, psychology. I had to do loads of self-acceptance. I have to work on myself. Everything that I do, I check in with me, nothing else. I check in with me. I ask God as well to actually show me anything in my life that is hidden, that is basically the energy that is no good for people. I do loads of inner work and the outer work, outer work as well. So you have to be somebody that knows that. And I know that I'm not perfect either, and I do not want to be perfect. I don't want anyone to be perfect either. So that's what I do, and that's why I'm able to come here and share whatever I'm sharing with you. And whatever I'm doing here is what I practice at home. They can tell you that my character is the same. I don't come here and say different things and do another thing. My character is basically is I love my freedom. I don't like to fight within me. My inner me loves freedom. I love to give people freedom. I like people to give me freedom. So that's what it's about. That is life, because life has no guarantees. Because the talk shows is where you can come in, find your own voice and be you and lead from within. And that's what life is about. You learning to lead from within. So we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday. Tomorrow we have Nick and Amanda, me and Grant. If they can make it, if nothing happens, it's so hot. So hopefully they'll make it. And we're here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. And if you want to connect with anyone at Ngozi Talk Shows, please do connect with all other coaches. There's loads of coaches from all walks of life. You can go to Ngozi Talk Shows page, get in touch with me, or if you are looking for love, the website is just there. You can get in touch on the website and fill out an application form and send the application. The process is completely different. So you fill out an application form. It's an online offline service. So once you fill out an application form, somebody will get back to you. Normally it's me, because I'm always checking things out to make sure that I respond to people. And so somebody will get back to you. And once we get back to you, then we can do the process, a Zoom chat, and a Zoom chat and face-to-face meeting. And then we take it everything from there. Your choice, your decision. So that's what we do. And God bless everyone, and live with grace. Bye, Phil.